Welcome, Drift fans, to the Gateway of the West. We are here loud and proud at Gateway Motorsports Park in Madison, Illinois, just outside of St. Louis, the Gateway to the West, for Round 6. This is deemed the Advanced Auto Parts Crossroads presented by Rain-X, and this is Round 6 of 8 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. Joining you once again, I am Jared Dienda and my great friend Ryan Sage. Ryan, a new venue for us. We're back in the Midwest. We haven't been here since, what, 05? We were in the shadow of Soldier Field. It's great to be back here in this part of the country.
Yeah, it really is. You know, the fans have been asking us to come back here for a very long time, and this has been, you know, quite a few years in the making. We had our Canadian event, and this replaced that event, and we're here at Gateway Motorsports Park, a fantastic venue, a big venue,
yeah.
And hoping to have a tremendous weekend here, where really a lot of the competition is going to be decided on a track that nobody has really experienced before, especially in their competition vehicles. And
it's kind of reminiscent of our next round, Texas Motor Speedway, where it's very fast. There's no kind of impeding walls, but even venue, just, you know, IndyCar races here, NASCAR, and it's very fast. What do you make, and how do you think the driver's going to navigate this, again, brand new track?
Well, coming into this, we knew that there would be the possibility of some changes to the track layout, and there's been quite a few changes. It was a much shorter track when we first initially sketched it out, and we realized that we wanted to have a bit more excitement. We integrated the S-turns that you'll soon become familiar with, but what we realized is from many of the practice runs, some drivers were not even making it a lap in terms of tire consumption, so we had to make some additional changes. Obviously, the drivers will make some adjustments to their vehicle, but this is a very challenging course. It's extremely fast, as you mentioned, and the surface is really rough and abrasive on tires.
So it's going to eat through a lot of tires. Talking about eating through a lot of tires, James Dean, our defending champion, he is back-to-back winner. He won at our last round in Seattle. He won previously in New Jersey. Prior to that, we had 3 different winners. So over 5 rounds previous to this, we've had 4 winners, but James Dean is back-to-back. I mean, overall, what are your thoughts?
Well, you know, you hit the nail on the head. It really was a diverse championship with those 4 individual winners, but James was always right there just below the surface. Then he got his win, came out strong in Seattle, backed it up with the second win, and now he's in a commanding lead in the championship. I feel like this round is a round where somebody in the top 5 or somebody that goes up against James early in competition needs to take him out, or it may be smooth sailing for him with just 2 rounds left to go because of where he sits currently in the championship.
Formula Drift St. Louis for the Black Magic Clip Tip. This is inner clip number 2, and this is a very crucial part of the track because it really sets you up for this long straightaway all the way down to get into that far bank turn. And this is all going down right in front of the grandstands, the judges, so they're going to see every little mistake that you make as you come around that straightaway trying to link into turn number 3. So it's very important to carry your momentum through turn 1, keep it nice and tight, transition early and on throttle. So you do a slow transition to kind of rotate around this clip to give you that speed and that push to go wide, rotate back, fill that touch and go, and nail it right in front of the judges.
Well, now's a good opportunity to take a look at the overall standings, as consistency is key. James Dean with his back-to-back wins. Here is a look at the current standings coming into the crossroads here. James Dean leads the pack. Frederik Osmo less than 100 points behind. Remember, 100 points for a win. Peter Visick rounding out that Wordhouse Drift team, sitting in 3rd. Chris Forsberg, the 3-time champion, sitting in 4th. And look at that, Justin Pollock kind of just lingering there in top 5.
Well, it's really about those top 5, Jared, and that's why I think 6 through 10 and the rest of the field are really more in a position to play the role of spoiler, somebody to knock James Dean down, give one of those other guys an opportunity to take a run at the championship. But Tuerck, Luce, Matfield, Bachis, Yoshihara, all capable of getting a win, along with other drivers in the field as we round out the top 10.
All right, so there's the current standings. Next up, I'll step off, and Ryan Lontaine, one of our 3 judges, will step in and break down the judging criteria and what they're looking for.
Hey guys, Robin Nishida here with the J Pistons Tech Talk. So this is a new track. Do you do anything different to the car to set it up for the new track?
Pretty much it's all the same. We just like did a short maintenance on the engine before the round. Other than that, it's the same. So we just like trying to find the setup, the right final drive, and playing with the suspension so we can finish two full runs and without running out of tires.
So you just basically kind of do everything when you get here and start testing the car. So you're basically testing and competing at the same time?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we just like start. Team wants me to go from the very first lap very aggressive, so we can get in a like the race mode without sucking, and so we just like trying to do our best from the very beginning.
Cool, man. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, and we're back here with Judge Ryan Lantain, also serving as the third member of our commentary team up here in the booth for qualifying. And today is qualifying day, Ryan Lantain. So before we get to this brand new, beautiful track and what you guys are looking for, let's talk about the event format.
Today we have qualifying, like you said. It's going to be each driver going out for 2 non-consecutive runs. We are going to score those runs based on the line, angle, and style criteria, and they're going to receive a score for both runs. They're going to keep the higher score of the 2, and then 32 drivers are going to move on to head-to-head competition.
Fans really need to know where you guys have allocated your points for line and angle, and this track has gone through a number of different changes, renditions, adjustments. Let's talk about the track layout first and how you guys have allocated line and angle points.
So if you look at the track map that's up on the screen, there are 6 different scored areas on the track. So inside clip 1, inside clip 2, then there's the touch and go on the driver's right, inside clip 3, outside zone 1, and then inside clip 4 is right at the finish line. We, like you say, have made a couple of changes to the track during the last couple of days here to get it to where it is now. It's done for safety reasons, first of all, to keep the drivers in the right parts of the track, and also to keep the tire wear to a minimum as well. The decel areas are right at initiation as the drivers get to angle at inside clip 1, and then there's a slowdown area right before outside zone 1. And what you need to do is go through touch and go to inside clip 3 with the most momentum possible. Big angle through there. Once you get past inside clip 3, you want to rotate that car as close to driver's left as possible. That's where you should be doing your slowdown right there, and then going all the way around outside zone 1. There may be also a slight slowdown from the end of outside zone 1 to the finish line because of how much that corner tightens up right there.
Fluidity and commitment seem to be so important at this track from what we saw last night in Pro 2 qualifying, and obviously that makes up style a big portion of the points allocation. So talk a little bit about that and how you judge that here at this track.
Style is worth 40 points. 20 of that is fluidity, 20 is commitment. And like you said here, it's very important, especially right in front of the judges tower. And that is, like I was saying earlier, from the touch and go area to inside clip 3 to outside zone 1. It's an area that rewards commitment big time. And if you don't do it right, it doesn't look good, but it also puts you in a very bad position going into outside zone 1. So you need to have your momentum carried through here, rotate the car aggressively to get it slowed down for outside zone 1. If the drivers are slowing down before the inside clip, which we are still seeing drivers doing now, it's not allowing them to get out to outside zone 1, and it's really slowing them down and making for choppy driving. So those 20 points for fluidity are very important here, and commitment also, throwing the car right out to the edge of the track, basically.
And being committed sometimes means that you push it a little bit too far. We saw a number of drivers go off course, and it seems like if you drop 1 tire, even 2, you might just slide because of how slick this surface is. So let's talk about the incompletes in qualifying and some of the things that fans should really look out for.
Incompletes, of course, in qualifying are always the 3 you see on the screen there, spinning out. Any opposite drift anywhere on the course, so that means you're drifting in the opposite direction you should be on the course. Anything latchable opening, hood, hatch, trunk, or doors opening up while you're out there during any of your qualifying runs. And we have, 4 wheels off would be an incomplete. Like you said, right here at this track, the grass is right on the edge of the pavement. So if you do drop a tire, chances are, especially on outside zone 1 tire is going to turn into 2, 3, potentially 4. And because we're getting the drivers to push so far out to outside zone 1 so aggressively, it did happen yesterday in Pro 2, and it could potentially happen today as well.
Well, everybody's got their work cut out for them today. It's a beautiful day here at Gateway Motorsports Park. This is round 6. Can you believe it? Of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. This is the Advanced Auto Parts Crossroads presented by Rain-X. And up next, we are going to go right into qualifying.
All right, Ryan, well, we are ready, as are the drivers. We're going to start from the bottom of the pile as far as the standings coming into this round of competition, and we will end with currently ranked #1 coming to this round, James Dean. Ryan, it's great to be back here again, celebrating 15 years of Formula Drift at a new venue.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I think it seems like yesterday we were saying, we're halfway done with the season, and now we're on the downside of it.
Crazy.
Got done with Seattle, tremendous event, one of the best ones I think we've had there in quite some time. Beautiful weather, and now we're at a brand new facility here at Gateway Motorsports Park. A great track, but really, really challenging for the drivers. We've had to make quite a few adjustments in order to come into equilibrium a little bit, in order to make sure we could have the best possible competition. And here's our first driver out for pro qualifying today, Jared.
Ryan Littoral in this Coro Works 350Z from Riverside, but the vehicle comes to us from Atlanta, Georgia. The Coro Works Z comes in, that Mass Motorsports V8. And, a major correction there, and that's going to definitely hurt, unfortunately, Ryan Littoral. And reason being here for Ryan Littoral as Ryan Littoral, his agenda there was actually because he is doing double duty. He's doing both Pro and Pro 2, Ryan. This is a big issue because I was talking to a spotter, Greg, and he said that, hey, we're going to take one run, get a run on the board, and then they're going to go swap the engine for Pro 2 just to make sure that everything was okay in the vehicle. And right now, Ryan, it looks like he has bigger fish to fry.
Well, he may have to reevaluate that, because that pretty much is a clear incomplete. It looked like we saw a little shoulder shrug over here from his spotter, and coming out of that final turn into the outside zone, you could see that he straightened up there quite a bit. We get a good look at the track from the camera positions here. This one is from outside the track, and you can, unfortunately for Littoral, he's going to have to reevaluate what he's going to do on run number 2, if indeed he's going to go for it.
Yeah, so like I said, his spotter told me, he says, here's the deal. We're going to make one run, and then we're going to thrash and put in a new engine, and I don't think that's the case now. So he wants to make it into pro competition for tomorrow. And also, taking a look at the notes, we originally started with 33 vehicles, but unfortunately both Cameron Moore, who's from Battleground Washington, and then Farouk Kawai, who's coming from San Francisco, from the Bay Area, he is no-show. So that would mean that we have, if you do the math, we have 31 vehicles. So there's an automatic bye for a #1 qualifier. So they will get the fast pass from today into tomorrow's top 16. Right now, Taylor Hull, and I got to tell you, he looked awesome yesterday. Debuting this new car this year, this Cadillac ATS-V, this Comp Cams vehicle, looked very fast. He kept it sideways, as Taylor Hull has had a lot of gremlins with this vehicle, but not the case this weekend, as the Achilles tires get lit up right on the hash mark. Look at that, just blowing in the wind as that Black Magic initiation point. And Taylor Hull brings it across the finish line, and he'll get a score on the board. Looked like it made me a little nervous there, shallowing up on the sweeper.
Well, let's get a look here. The initiation rolling into that first inside clip. Now transitioning Brown. Here's that second inside clip. There was a touch ago there early on in the development of this track, and now we want the drivers to get midline here for safety reasons. And then as you get into this final outside zone, you can see Taylor Hull has to shallow up quite a bit. The zone actually extends all the way out to the edge of the course, and then here's that last inside clip there before they cross the finish line. So a little bit of a mistake in that final outside zone from Taylor Hull, but he will have one more opportunity.
And for all the drivers receiving scores, they will be seeing head-to-head competition as compared to Pro 2. There's only a top 16 in a Pro Championship. There are top 32. So Taylor Hull awaits his score, which should get him on the board. Where he lands, we will soon find out.
We can't see him on.
All right, so Taylor Hull still awaiting his score. Cameron Moore was to be next, and he is not present here. Next up after this will be Austin Meeks. And Meeks has had kind of a string of bad luck here the past few rounds, not making it into head-to-head competition. So looking for Meeks and this committed service brand, Achilles Radial Galp S15. S14.5, I should say. All right, right, so there's Taylor Hull's score, a 62. A 62 there for Taylor Hull. Does get a score, and that means he will be into head-to-head competition. But he'll try to better that and work his way up as Austin Meeks is on the start line. Austin Meeks from Inman, South Carolina. His family practically has a zoo, and he's going to try to be a wild animal here on this very fast course. And here comes Meeks past the judges stand. Big angle from him about the third hash mark. You can hear him lifting, just settling the car in, getting into that big long sweeper. Set it and forget it as Austin Meeks. See a little bit of wavering there with those front tires, but dials it in and will receive a score.
Well, let's take a look here at Meeks. You can see the 3-2-1 cones here in the grass right about there. Gets that early initiation. A bit wide here on that first inside clip. On the second also as well. Could have tightened it up. The judges would like to see you get to the edge of the course there. Not up on the rumble strips, but just right to the edge. That outside touch and go, he didn't get out there, he's on midline, and then finally he starts to push into this outside zone, but you can still see he's not as deep as he need to be. There's those 3 hash markers, noticing at the final section of that outside zone, and then from there, Jared, the judges want to see the drivers push down cleanly, draw a smooth line to that final inside clip. So Meeks leaving a few line points on the table here overall, something to build off for run number 2.
Results are in and there we go, Meeks with a 64, so just barely Meeks out, no pun intended, Taylor Hull. So 62 from Taylor Hull, 64 from Meeks. Next up, one of the most exotic vehicles in the grid, most expensive off the showroom floor, but then you start throwing all the mods at all the other vehicles. But this is Federico Sciarrifo from Milan, Italy. He's piloting this Ferrari 599 GTB Fiorino drift spec, aka he calls it Fiorella. And here we go. Nitto tires go ablaze. A little late on the initiation, Ryan. I'm seeing kind of your body language here. So Federico Sciarrifo, you see him shimming his way into this final outside zone. Told me that he found a lot more horsepower, a lot more torque in between Seattle and here. Car seems to be a lot more settled as well, and that's what he's talking about, the attitude of the vehicle squatting a lot more, Ryan.
Well, let's take a look here. We saw Federico lay down some pretty solid runs in practice. You can see right there passing through that first inside clip, second inside clip, doing a pretty good job on that line. Gets a little bit early there on that outside touch and go, and it kind of bothers him through that center section. But here, as he gets into this final outside zone, the first and only outside zone, runs that rear wheel pretty deeply, comes up on that third hash mark, and then right there, nice and tight, smooth line through that final inside clip. So here he is right here. This is where he gets a 2 tires off there for a second. He was a bit early on his transition to that outside touch and go, which the drivers just need to find a location in that touch and go to get their rear bumper. But outside of that, a pretty decent start for him, and again, another run that he can certainly build off of.
And there's the result for Federico Sciarrifo, a 74. He will be seeing head-to-head competition tomorrow. Next up was to be Farouk Kawai and that Reckless Racing E92, originally from Poland, now residing in the Bay Area. Unfortunately, he is not here at this round. Hopefully we'll see him at the next round at Texas Motor Speedway. Okay, next up will be Dean Carnage Carney. Saw him working late into the night, getting that thing all strung up and straightened out. Says no major issues, which is a nice change of pace for him. He's been thrashing at previous events, a hard-working team. But this turbocharged Viper, a new chassis for him, not the Viper, but overall literally a brand new chassis and quick initiation, right to angle there, Ryan, really fast. Nice job from Carney. Out to that touch and go, big angle pass, really tight to that front clip. The Oracle Lighting, Achilles tire, Dodge Viper. hitting his stride, finding that sweet spot, and you can see him on that outside hash mark, just about the 3rd hash mark. So a strong run there from Dean Carnage Carney.
Well, noticeably, you can see the quick rate to angle on the initiation. He gets right there, he holds it, draws that nice line, kind of late apex is that first inside clip. Right on that 2nd hash mark on that 2nd inside clip, draws this line out to the touch and go, leaves it a little bit early, but look how quick he's motoring through here. And you can see the confidence in the vehicle from him as he gets into that outside zone. Comes off a little bit early there, doesn't get the full points on the line for that outside zone, but clearly a very confident run from Dean Carney, and the best that we've seen so far here in qualifying for these 31 positions that are currently open right now, with the number of drivers that have made it into competition. So one driver, as you said, Jared, looking for that buy opportunity in the top 16. Yeah,
and right now there are 2 buy opportunities. Hopefully Literal gets a score on the board and sees head-to-head competition, as we will be seeing him later in Pro 2. But how healthy the car runs or what shape it's going to be in is TBD, to be decided. So right now, and the results are in for Dean Carney, and it's an 81. So a strong jump and run for him. Next up, Kayla, Kevin Lawrence, our Pro 2 champion, is deciding not to do double duty similar to that of Ryan Literal this weekend, just committing to the Pro Championship from Orlando, Florida, in the Juku Racing, BC Racing S14.3. All right, we are getting an update here that Kevin Lawrence has called a competition timeout. So Kevin Lawrence has called a competition timeout. So it's a 5-minute allotment for him. So we'll see if Ryan, don't know if that's the right decision for him, as he has 2 runs, but we'll see how strategy plays out for him. Right now, why don't you download the app if you haven't already. Live scoring, alerts and stats, exclusive content, breaking news alerts, get notifications, access to the free live stream, ability to buy tickets. So if you're joining us at Texas or Irwindale, and Sage, I know you utilize the fan rewards program, giving out a lot of cool goods. So update, answer some questions, and win some points.
Yeah, there's a nice 88 points in there right now from Riley Sexsmith, donated last night for his number 1 qualification. So go in there and find the code for Riley's number 1 qualification.
Sweet. All right, so now it's Kazuya Taguchi. Kazuya Taguchi piloting his GTR, Achilles tire, up garage, top 1 oil GTR. Kazuya coming into that first front clip. You see, get in the rumble strips. It's not where the judges wanted it, excuse me, but pretty much just only affects him. Didn't affect too much of the attitude of the car. You see him throw it in, but then pull a little bit of angle out of it to adjust. Now tightens it up to that finish line. So Kazuya Taguchi puts down a run, and he'll be getting a score.
Well, let's take a look at this here, Jared. You can see Taguchi gets a little bit tight on this first inside clip. Good angle here, kind of a slow roll initiation, but comes up on the rumble strips there. Better job on that 2nd inside clip. But watch right here, he kind of almost comes straight for a second with the line that he was drawing to that outside touch and go. He was able to pull it off and make it look decent, but his line didn't give him enough momentum to stay all the way into that zone and fill it completely. So he had to pull off a bit early there in order to maintain drift in the angle. Let's take a look at what happens when you go up on these rumble strips. You can see right there, it really does kind of throw you off for a second, but Taguchi does a good job of working with the vehicle as it was going up and down, and he'll get himself a score here for the first run of his campaign, trying to make it into tomorrow's top 32.
And he does, 76. So a 76 for Kazuya Taguchi. All right, next up will be Kyle the Menace Mohan. Kyle Mohan Racing, American Ethanol, Mazda Tricks, built to Apex, Top 1 Oil, Mazda MX-5. The lone rotary in competition. And talking to Kyle and his team, they say this car is very twitchy. I mean, it's almost as wide as it is long, so a very twitchy ride. When he gets it settled, looks really strong. Said felt confident in Atlanta. We'll see how he does here in practice earlier. Looks pretty good. Here we go, Kyle Mohan. Past the first front clip, past the second, about the second or third hash mark there. You can hear the rotary really pounding away. Mohan, quick little lift, now back on throttle. Seems that he's got it worked out. Just burning that ethanol, literally coming out of the hood. A quick little lift that's throwing some serious flames. Hopefully, media got that. That was a big fireball.
Well, Mohan has had some real bright moments this year, especially in Road Atlanta, and this run right here, trying to build off of that. You can see he gets a pretty decent start, a little bit long on that first inside clip and the second, but not a bad line overall. Great, smooth, fluid transition there to that outside touch and go. Now trying to draw this line here as he gets into this outside zone. Gets into it early, stays pretty deep here. He's got good angle in the car, and then right here, he's just on that third hash mark as he burns off a little ethanol, as you said, Jared, and hits that final inside clip. So nice, strong, confident run from Kyle Mohan here. Let's see, this is where he gets that nice little puff coming out of the engine, and he was right on that third hash mark. So just at the bottom end of that zone as he finished up his run there. So pretty good start for Kyle Mohan, and we'll see how the judges think that compares to the other runs in there.
And Mohan with a 73, so good run there from the menace. That is Kyle Mohan. All right, so you can see our Fast Orange qualifying leaderboard fill up here with Dean Carney out front. Right now it's Rad Dan Burkett, this beautiful Toyota Supra. On that first hash mark, really fluid there from Dan Burkett. You can see that Supra locked and loaded. And the judge we're talking about in the driver's meeting, he took that line, kind of worked his way into that outer zone, and now working it back in to tighten up to that finish line. So Dan Burkett, really good and fluid line from him, his sophomore season here.
Well, good start from Dan Burkett. He just sacrificed that last outside outer zone and probably left some points on there, but you can see big angle, fluid transition there. Get some angle in the car to come into this inside clip. And then right here in this outside zone, he doesn't push deep. He doesn't go all the way out to the outside zone. So he's definitely going to lose some points there. You can see he's way down below that hash mark. So leaving some points on the table in regards to that section of the course for line. But we'll see how that impacts the overall run, as now it is in the judges' hands. And Dan Burkett has his first run in the books.
Simply known as Rad Dan, his score is in. And it's a 75, so a lot of 70s right now outside of Dean's 81. All right, so here is Kevin Lawrence, who called his competition timeout. And Ryan, I was talking briefly there about strategy. If you have two runs, why would you call it on your first run? You know, might be able to utilize it later, but right now, Kevin Lawrence saw the need, and he is back. He did it within his 5 minutes. And right now, looking good. Not a lot of angle as he goes into that outside zone. You can see him locking up that front right. Utilizing all the tools in his toolbox as he explodes that Black Magic finish line there, Ryan.
Yeah, not sure why he used the competition timeout. It might have been much better served to save that for head-to-head competition, but nonetheless, he does make use of it. It's his one and only the weekend. He is going to get a nice, strong pull here. You can see a little twitchiness right there from that outside touch and go, but he had a good initiation, got that first inside clip. He's pretty deep into this outside zone here, right on that third hash mark. Big angle here as he tries to pull it back around and just touches that final inside clip. Here he is coming through the power alley here, puts that right rear just on that edge and keeps good angle in the car as he comes through that inside clip, heading on to that outside zone. So we'll see how that works out for Kevin Lawrence.
And it's a 76, so another 70s driver there as Kevin Lawrence receives a 76. And 81 still the best score there from Dean Carney. And next up will be Jeff Jones, who was really just having a lot of fun this season. Him and Mohan have teamed up. They've been doing a lot of activation, taking some veterans for some rides, and even a gentleman that's a veteran, also blind. So that was kind of a cool ride for him to give, and give him back in a couple different ways. Also, Ryan, I think we both enjoyed the live stream, their little cameo on live stream at Seattle with Jeff Jones and Kyle Mohan.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the high points for me, for sure, in terms of comic relief.
Yeah. I can't remember, who were they interviewing? Matt Field, Lorette, and was it Field or somebody?
I think it was Field, yeah.
Yeah, and Mohan and Jones happened to rock a little Fortnite dance behind him. It was pretty funny. So, all right, it's all serious business now for Jeff Jones, this Doc 350Z. And brings it through. Nice job. Sorry, 370Z. Into that outside sweeper. Well done. The Falcon tires ablaze all the way through. Like I said, serious business here for this V8 Edelbrock Supercharged Nissan 370Z, sponsored by Doc and Falcon Tires.
Well, with that clean pass, he'll certainly be into tomorrow's head-to-head competition. Now let's take a look at the run. A little bit long on that first inside clip, right about that second hash mark. You can see a tiny little twitch there as he sets up to that outside touch and go. You can just see how much full throttle this course is as he hits this outside zone. Starts to pull off a little bit early, but just keeps that left rear wheel right on that third hash mark, and then tightens it up to that final inside clip. So Jeff Jones gets his run in the books and finishes up nice and strong. We'll see where that slots him into the top 32 bracket for tomorrow.
And nice score there for Jeff Jones. He gets an 80, a solid score for Dr. Jones. Next up, Jonathan Castro. Gerardo Metodam, Toyota Racing Toyota 86. He's on Nexen tires. Love to see Castro do well. This track could suit him. Running that 4-cylinder turbo underneath the hood as past that first front clip. Past the second, so kind of a wide swing there. Similar line, and I like the fluidity of Castro. I was gonna say similar to that of Dan Burkett. Big lift there. Surprised kind of by that, causing him to come in, but again, very fluid line there from Castro.
And there's a number of different lines you can run through the power alley there. There's no longer an outside touch and go, so the drivers do have some flexibility, but you can see Castro very fluid here. Just goes a little bit wide on that second inside clip. He does use the entirety of the course, brings it back around to that outside touch and go, comes up a little bit right there on that first the third inside clip rather. And then finally here in this outside zone, he gets on that second hash mark, so one of the deeper sections of the course, was able to fill it and cross over that second hash mark. So good start for Jonathan Castro, and we'll see how the judges think about that run.
Yeah, and as you said, just a little clarification there. There is an outside zone in the power alley, but when you enter into it, there's not an outside zone. There's basically yeah, touch and go. Thank you. So 83 and 83 for Castro. He takes the lead now through the drivers that have put down their first run. So good job there. Yeah, some clarification even more. A touch and go. Next up, Dirk Stratton, the dagger in the Drift Vet. Stratton going for that Formula Drift Rookie of the Year is challenged by Matt Van Kirk, but right now Stratton looks strong. Achilles tires, Lingenfelter power gets all the way out to that touch and go, passes to the naked eye of the judges. And he has some experience at this track, but it does not favor him right now. That looked like a lot of tires and a lot of dirt being thrown up. We'll see if the judges score that as an incomplete. I'd have to assume so, unfortunately, there for Dirk Stratton. Ryan?
Well, I got a good chance, Jared, last night to see the standards for the judges in terms of incompletes are going off of course, and I think from what we saw in Pro 2, that's probably going to be an incomplete for Stratton, unfortunately for him. Let's take a look and see how this transpired. He's got a lot of speed coming through here, and yeah, he just gets those rear wheels off right at the beginning of that outside section, and he's unable to recover. He gets back on and finishes the run, but I have to imagine, given what we saw last night, that that will be an incomplete.
And there it is, Ryan. It is official. So I was just talking him up about his experience here. He's drifted Midwest Drift Union MDU at this very track, and unfortunately, he is going to have to rely on his second run. And we are getting some terrible news. Alex Hilbrun, Team IMR, and that BMW is a scratch. He has a bad oil pump, and he popped it earlier in practice. I saw him being towed off. Didn't know exactly what happened, but get an update. Oil pump went bad, so unfortunately for him. So this is the other gentleman that I said is really making a strong and valiant effort here for Rookie of the Year, Matt Van Kirk from the Pacific Northwest. Flirts with the dirt. Dirt McGirt into that outer zone. This 2JZ powered S13 all the way out. This Closet Creations vehicle and past the finish line.
Well, Jared, I thought Matt Van Kirk looked tremendous at New Jersey. Very solid there. He looked like a real veteran. And even though he's in his rookie year, you can see here he definitely has the confidence in that vehicle. A little bit long on that second inside clip, draws that middle line. Drops a tire there through that outside touch and go. Now swinging back around, loses a little bit of momentum there for a second. Kind of has to not reinitiate, but get back on the throttle in a little bit less fluid way, and then really overshoots that outside zone. Goes a bit long there and has to really, really late apex that final inside clip, but still goes a bit past it. Let's see what happens here as he's on throttle, then off right here, and the car's floating out. He's just not on the right line, doesn't have the proper angle. Still able to bring it back around, but he is late on that final inside clip, which marks the finish line.
All right, and the results are in. And there it is, a 70, a 7-0 for Matt Van Kirk. All right, so we want to give back to you, and you can win a MagnaFlow exhaust. Just tag MF, as in MagnaFlow Drift, MF Drift to 555-888 MagnaFlow. Win a free MagnaFlow exhaust made for a variety of cars and trucks, diesel and gas. MF Drift. All right, here we go. This is Mike Essa. Michael Essa in the Essa Autosports Achilles tire BMW. Past the first front clip. A very fluid driver, and the car is very quick, Ryan. Flying into that final front clip. You can see him working the wheel. A lot of hands being thrown around in that cockpit. Man, it looks like that thing is absolutely on rails. The exhaust note and just where the car is navigated. Solid job there, making easy and quick work of that sweeper is Michael Essa.
Well, definitely he's got the qualifying setup there. He was full throttle pretty much the majority of the course. Essa, nice start here. A little bit long on those first and second inside clips, and you can really hear the car here just blasting as he gets to that outside touch and go. See how fluid and dynamic he is as he shifts back over and then tries to fill this outside zone. He's going to come up a little bit short here, but he's really pegged all the way through. He hits that third hash mark on the inside. So he still has the ability to better this score. For sure, he's got some line points that he could deal with there, but he gets a nice initiation, nice fluid transitions here. Just needs to button up that line a little bit. He can certainly build on that score for run number 2, but nonetheless a good start here for Essa on run number 1.
And a 79, nice score there for Michael Essa, 79 for the BMW. That's Essa Autosports Achilles tire. Sponsored ride. Next up, Matt, put him in a Coffin. Machine was built for war, World War Coffin. Some of the best food and catering in the pits, I gotta say. The ladies over there in Coffin camp cook some mean food over there. So Matt Coffin, Coffin Racing, Thunderbolt Racing, Achilles tire, 240SX. Got the Ford power plant under the hood, very tight to that front clip on the first, not so much on the second. Massive angle. Kicking off that tire debris on that transition right here in front of the judges stand. Man, looked like he was on fast forward. And Coffin still tearing it all the way back into the pits.
Well, it's a great run for Coffin here. Nice solid way to start off. Early initiation, back on throttle nice and early. Doesn't go too fast through that section of the course where he misses that second inside clip, where we've seen a lot of drivers do that. Nice job right there on that outside touch and go. A little bit long on that inside clip, but not too far. Makes it look good. Now as he reaches into this outside zone, he stays on throttle here, and he actually moves deeper towards the end, and he's still able to stay tight on that inside clip, just lifting that front right wheel up onto the railing there for a second, the rumble strips, and I think that's a good start for Matt Kaufman. A lot of confidence in his vehicle, and we'll have to see how the judges award him.
And Kaufman's score, an 86. A good score there for Coffin, 86, as we are now into the top 16 drivers. Sitting 15th coming into this round, Vaughn Gittin Jr. We had a great week out of the Oshkosh Air Show, and Ford put on great activation, and got to show some aviation fans and enthusiasts what drifting is. So it's a great opportunity to again, show some more people, put some more eyeballs on some drifting. Let's check out this Monster Energy Ford Performance Mustang RTR on Nitto tires. 3-wheel motion and flying through with that Roush Yates power. Really tight to that final front clip. Gets it settled into. Not as, whoa, look at that. Look at the attitude of the car. I was just gonna say, not as much 3-wheel motion, but then it just started hitting switches. Not literally.
Well, again, also you can hear really Vaughn staying on that throttle the majority of the course. A little bit long on that first inside clip, but you can see much tighter on the second. Full throttle here as he shoots out wide. Now brings it back around to that outside touch and go. Beautiful job on that inside clip. And he starts mid-course and then shoots out wide, makes a slight adjustment, then really fills that zone all the way to the closest hash mark there, and is still able to finish up that line by looking pretty smooth to that final inside clip. You can see using all the course here. Get to that outside touch and go. That left front coming up as he slides right in front of that inside clip, and then gets right into that outside zone. So a great first run for Vaughn Gittin Jr.
And an 80, that's an 8-0. An 8-0 for Vaughn Gittin Jr. Next up, look at that. The boss, Vaughn Gittin Jr., and his teammate, Chelsea Denofa, the RTR twin Mustangs. Chelsea Denofa just edging out the boss as Chelsea Denofa, BC Racing, Nitto Tire, Ford Performance, Mustang RTR. Nasty initiation. That means that in a good way. Boom, look at that. Around that second front clip. Transitioning past the final front. You really raspy, Ryan. I see you plug your ear there. Very loud. Look at the front right wheel stopped in the air. Chelsea Denofa, solid run there. Really love the rate to angle on initiation, Ryan. All right, it's over, it's over. Settle down, kid.
Yeah, you can see it right out of the gate. Chelsea not playing any games. Snaps to angle, sticks with it. Great job right there just on that second hash mark on that first inside clip. Beautiful on the second, midline, and then that transition back around. Snappy right there. Gets himself positioned in place, a little bit of e-brake pull, and then right into this outside zone, and then draws a beautiful line pretty much all the way through that final outside, the section of that outside zone. Almost just a perfect arc. He came in for a second and then went back out there and filled it pretty well. And then that huge initiation right to angle, tight on that inside clip. And then that midline that gave him the right positioning to that outside touch and go. And here he is on that final outside zone. You can see he comes off just for a second, but then he slides back in it and gets deeper into that zone on that last little section. So good job by Chelsea Denofa, a great first run, and certainly something that he can be proud of for run number 1 and build off for run number 2.
Boom, a 91. He takes that number 1 qualifying position strongly with a 91, Ryan. And on just such a, would you call this an unassuming track? Because you know it's very fast, it's quick, but at a fast speed, you really got to dial it in.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I should assume with this track. So, I think we're all kind of taking it in, and you know, it's interesting. You know, the tracks that we go to, we've seen for 10, 15 years. You get so used to it that where people initiate. What happens year after year is as the cars build and get better and better. That's where you see the differences. Here, we're all kind of learning for the very first time.
All right, Alec Honadale, he's learned quickly over just a few short years, but as he explodes, he gets onto the red and white. Again, that's not what the judges are looking for. Looking for them to stay off that rumble strip, but as long as it doesn't affect the line, you're not going to be docked too much. As Honadel said, this girl's a rippin' on Instagram, and that Rain-X livery powers past the finish line. Solid run there from the Honadel Racing, Huddy Racing S14.
Well, you're correct, Jared. The judges do not want to see you get up on that section of the course, especially right there. A little bit too tight from Honadel on the rumble strips on inside clip 1 and 2, but much better here as he comes through that inside clip, stays down on the course, gets into this zone nice and early, draws that nice line. You can see right there on that second hash mark, and then tight through that final inside clip. So you can see the initiation, he didn't have the full angle as compared to Denofa, and he had to come up and be a little bit tight on those first and second inside clips. Just takes that out, hits it a little bit harder than you'd like to see. The judges would prefer you stay down onto the flat surface area and still get full points, but nonetheless, he's got a good score to work with on number 1.
Yeah, not too bad, but one to grow on, an 80 there for Honadel. Up next will be Wang. He's going to Wang Chung tonight, if he can Wang Chung tomorrow. Here we go. So Wang up next, this Vaptasia Achilles Tire Energy Innovations S15. Definitely one of the most popular drivers among the fans. Big styly angle and smoke. And here comes Forrest Wang, throws it in. Nice job from Wang. Really tight to that front clip, transitions very smoothly, what he's known for. Using all the course, you see a little bit of a hiccup, but now settles in. Running through the gears. You can see some corrections there. Doesn't look like you found that exact sweet spot, Ryan. I mean, the great looking car, and the chrome wheels almost showcasing the corrections, the twitchiness.
Well, you can definitely see the smoothness starting off here. Rolls into this initiation. Beautiful job on that first inside clip. Second, pretty good job as well. Right here, you saw just a tiny little hiccup there in the fluidity, but he's able to make it look pretty decent as he's tied on that third inside clip. Now here, as he gets into this outside zone, he comes in it early, but then he leaves it a bit early as well, and he has to force his way back in to hit that third hash mark, and kind of draws a little bit of an interesting line through that final section. But here it is, as you see, he gets into this outside zone, and right there he starts to pull a little bit of angle out of the car. He's not able to fill it completely. He's on the midline here, and then he sweeps back out into the traditional section of that course for racing, and then is able to bring it back around that final inside clip. So we'll have to see how the judges take that into account, but for Forrest Wang, a solid start.
All right, results are in, and a 78, so still a very strong score from Mr. Wang. Next up, a vet, Ken Gooshie. We've seen him grow up before our eyes. Just a young lad, now he's a grown man. Great ambassador for the Toyota brand. The Gretty Performance Products. Toyota Racing Toyota 86. He's on Falcon tires. And here we go, 2JZ under the hood. Another 2J car. All 2J podium at our last round of competition, to be honest. As Ken Gooshie, very consistent with that exhaust note, Ryan. You can hear it. Into the outer zone. Just blending in, really riding the lightning. Well done by the OG Ken Gooshie.
Yeah, I gotta figure that that's gonna be very high, at least on the line side of things. Not too many mistakes there by Gooshie. Gets that nice initiation here. Look at this, right there on that rumble strip, just right on the inside. Second hash mark there for Ken Gooshie on that inside clip. Draws a nice smooth line, and you can see keeping the angle in the vehicle, not making a lot of corrections or adjustments. And watch this, Jared. Gets into this outside zone early, stays deep. This is probably the deepest that we've seen anybody go all the way through, consistent, leaves it at the right time, and draws that nice fluid arc through the finish line. So great start by Ken Gooshie there. That's got to be a huge confidence builder. Siri is at full lock right here. He's on the throttle, just right there on the edge of the course, and he really doesn't move too far from there. He starts to eye up the final section of this turn, hits that second hash mark there, and draws that nice line to that final inside clip.
Ken Gooshie runs deep, so deep, put that score to sleep. 95, a 95 for the Goosh. Nice job there by the Goosh OG. Riding the lightning, like I said, very smooth. See Ben Schwartz smiling over there, looking all goofy, all excited. He's got his headphones on so he can't hear me, which is even great. All right, so we are into our top 10 drivers coming to this round as Ken Gooshie takes the lead with a 95. Very comfortable position for him. Here comes another, not an 86, but this is a BRZ. This is Daijiro Yoshihara, turn 14 distribution. Another Falcon Tire shrouded vehicle. It's so funny. I mean, that's a turbo V8, but it sounds so quiet. Just very, very fluid there from Dai. A very similar line to that of Ken Gooshie. Ryan, we are going for it here as we get into the top 10 drivers coming to this round.
Yeah, Gooshie may have had a better outer bank or the right-hand sweeper, but I think Dai had the first and second inside clips a bit tighter. Let's take a look at it here. Slow roll into the initiation, nothing super fancy there. Just nice and fluid and consistent. Great job on that second inside clip. Fluid here, not a lot of movement from the front wheels. You can see eyes up this final outside zone. Tiny bit of a hiccup there, but overall still stays really deep and consistently deep through that final outside zone and making it look clean through that last inside clip. So I think this is going to be a nice solid score for Daijiro Yoshihara. Very minimal mistakes. The fluidity and the commitment were there. And a great job by him starting off in run number 1.
And does not get into the 90s, but an 87 just outside for Dai Yoshihara. An 87 for another FD veteran. Odi Bakshi, so a lot of Falcon tires coming up next. We have the frenemies up next. They're friends, but they're enemies. Have a good time off track, but go to blows when it comes to on-track action. Talking about Odi and Matt Field. First up, Odi Bakshis. His Falcon tires, max oil drifts wheels. S14.5, look at that, him lifting a tire there. A lot of squatting, looking like a bullfrog, ready to pounce. Past that final front clip. Quick little lift and then back on throttle. Listen to that exhaust note, Ryan. The V8 just pounding away. Nice job there from Odi Bakshis.
Really great job on execution by Odi Bakshis, especially in that final outside zone. You can see he gets that nice initiation there. Great job on that first inside clip. Pretty good job on that second. He's staying on throttle here. He's fluid. Nice transition there to that inside clip from the outer zone, outside touch and go. And then watch this again. He gets in early, keeps that right, or that left rear wheel right on the line all the way through.
Yeah. Maybe
even done that cleaner than Ken. And a great job by Odi Bakshis here in run number 1. Here's the initiation. You can see he's back on throttle very early before that first inside clip, but he doesn't over throttle and push too far out from that second inside clip. He still draws a pretty clean line, but here is where I'm really impressed. You can see just threading the needle all the way through the deepest part of the zone, and then leaving it at the right time to hit that inside clip. So great job by Odi Bakshis.
Ryan, as Odi's score comes in, let me ask you, what do you think the factor is? 93, a 93 there for Odi Bakshi. So sits outside that 95 that we saw Gooshie get. But what do you think that factor is that Odi's missing to get that championship status, to get that title?
I don't think he's really missing anything at all. I mean, he was super close last year. He got 3rd place. I mean, he, no doubt about it, is 100% a championship contender. I think so much of the way that the season goes is obviously what you bring to the table with team preparation and skill, and Odi's got that, obviously. And then there's just a lot of luck. Who you go up against in the top 16, top 32, how the vehicle performs, you know, things that break down. It's a way that it goes, and whoever can do that consistently throughout the season tends to be up there in the top 5.
Great point. Here we go. Talk about luck. Let's make a wish with Matt Field at Falcon Tires Corvette. Really tight past that final front clip. Let's see how Matt Field handles this sweeper. Another great job. This is why these guys are in the top 10. Very deep, almost camouflaging that final outside clip with the Falcon Tire smoke. I talked about the frenemies, friends, and enemies. Ryan, a great point about luck. Like I said, there's that wish Falcon Tires Corvette.
Well, Matt Field so close to a win in New Jersey against his teammate, James Dean, and you can see why. In his maiden voyage of this vehicle, he really hasn't skipped a beat at all. His preparation was great in the offseason, and look at this, how he's basically going through this course with a lot of confidence, something that you would see on run number 2 perhaps, and on run number 1 he's laying it down, trying to put the best possible score out there so he can give himself some more cushion, but it's very hard to nitpick that run there. That was a great job by Field, very few mistakes, really doing a great job in that final outside zone. You can see that the scores that are coming in the high 80s and 90s are really getting deep into this final outside zone and really focusing on quick rate to angle on initiation.
Boom, a 95. Sorry to cut you off there, Ryan, but 2 drivers now in the 90s, or 3 drivers in the, sorry, a few in the 90s, but 2 with 95s. Let's just clarify there. So congrats to Matt Field, a strong score. Just a few points left on the track, and you know these guys are going, you know, we haven't seen a perfect score in some years. Tanner Faust, Reese Milne, they've received them in the past, and would love to see, and I think this is a great opportunity. Ryan, the question is this going to be a drag race when it comes to head-to-head? Because this is a very fast course. Is it going to be a horsepower war?
I don't think so. It could have been various layouts. I think certainly play to that, but you know, tire conservation is going to be really important here, especially on run number 2. So yeah, the drivers have been making adjustments. You know, we talked to Peter Vincek about what he was doing. So you know, we'll talk a lot more about that, Jared. But I think for the most part, you know, we've got a pretty decent setup that's going to be favorable to a lot of drivers.
Christophe Bluch in that Mass Motorsports powered BMW, called the Eurofighter. But now he's going against the International Fighter. Nice job. Into that outer zone. Can't see the back of that carbon Kevlar BMW as flying through the track is Christophe Bluch. Christophe's got his victory at the iconic track that is Atlanta. I mean, that's just such a great and historic place to get your first win.
Yeah, and it was an awesome time for him and his team. And here he is for his first run, starting off pretty strong here. A little bit long on that second inside clip, but coming through that power alley. You can see right here, he definitely has the speed and grip in the vehicle and setting himself up here for this outside zone. Threads the needle at the beginning, pulls off for a second, and then stays deep through that final section of the course into that inside clip where he's on that second hash mark through the finish line. So good start here for Christophe Bluch as we make our way into the top 5.
All right, results are in for Christophe, and an 88. An 88, he goes back in time with the famous mile per hour to go back to the future, but he will go back to the end of the line as he will have a second run to try to bet it out. A lot of guys in the 90s here in the top 10. Now coming in 6th into this round of competition, Ryan Tuerck, and I understand Ryan had some engine issues, and I guess the belt kept coming off, so they just said, you know what, let's just swap the engine. So as I lovably called them, the Bone Zone, Chris Forsberg and Ryan Tuerck, the Blackout Garage. These guys have had a string of bad luck here this weekend, but looks like he's putting it together here in this Gumout Toyota Racing Toyota 86. BC Racing coilovers are being put to work. A little shimmy into that outside zone there for Ryan Tuerck. What's the 4-1? Ryan Tuerck on track.
Well, if he does need to do anything further with the vehicle, have plenty of time now. That was a great run to start off with Tuerck, rolling into this first inside clip. Great job, super tight right there. Nice fluid transition back around, little bit long on that second inside clip, but great fluid motion coming through the power alley and hitting that third inside clip, setting himself up for this outside zone here. Gets a nice early start into that zone, pulls off for a second, and then goes deep. Now trying to keep the angle in the car as he wraps around that final inside clip through the finish line. And Ryan Tuerck puts himself in a good position there. He'll have a lot of weight off of his shoulders if there is anything further that needs to be done with the vehicle, but he'll get himself a good score here on run number 1.
Another 88. That's an 88 for Ryan Tuerck. So back to back. Yeah, that quick little adjustment there into that outside zone. You can see the scores there, 26, 28, and a 34. So just a couple points left across the board. Next up, Justin Pollock, JTP. We talked about him just sitting there in the top 5, quietly just hunting his prey here. Said he's comfortable. Had some words with him yesterday. He's very comfortable in the car. You know, talked about gearing. He says he's been running the same gear since day 1, hasn't changed it up. And again, looks very fast. Justin known for an aggressive initiation. We saw another Mustang earlier, Chelsea Denofa, so with an aggressive initiation, we'll see if Pollock throws it out there as well. And that Roush Performance Falcon tire, Ford Mustang. More of a smooth type effort there from Justin Pollock. About the second hash mark, maybe just gonna put down a reasonable score. Very tight to that front clip and quickly gets out to that outer line, see if he can maintain that, and he does. Looks like he throws even some more angle at it as he hits that outside zone, Ryan. And Justin Pollock finishes out the course and will obviously get a good score.
Well, all things considered, Pollock has had a tremendous season here. He's at that podium. He's been very consistent in qualifying. It's certainly a threat here at this new track in St. Louis. Starts off a little bit long on that second inside clip, but great angle there through that outside touch and go, and wrapping it into that inside clip as he sets himself up for this final outside zone. Gets really deep at the beginning, pulls off for a second, and then gets right on that third hash mark to try to draw that smooth line just coming up there on the railing through that final inside clip. But for Justin Pollock, a good start here in the afternoon, just past 12:40 local time. We'll see where that score slots him in.
Okay, and let's see. Justin Pollock with a 90, a 9-0. That is a 90 for Justin Pollock in his Roush Performance Falcon Tires Ford Mustang. Now into the top four here. And we are seeing Chris Forsberg, who again has had some unfortunate bad luck here as swapping out the engine as well. Has had some bad luck with his engines this season. And then also Energy Drink 370Z on Nexus tires, ready to throw it down. He says this thing is ready to shred it, bro. Tight to that front clip. No problem, sir. Keep moving. As Forsberg out to that outside touch and go, about the second hash mark on that final front clip. Into the outside zone. You see that front right locking. Loses a little bit of angle, but then throws it out there. Not reinitiates, but kind of loses, then regains some angle.
Well, really tight on that first inside clip, probably the tightest that we've seen here. Just gets that wheel to glide over the lowest section of that part of the course, and then right there on that outside, that second inside clip, a little bit long there. Second hash mark on that inside clip as he enters into this final outside zone. Great start here, fills it at the deepest part of that section, and then right there draws that nice smooth line through that final inside clip. So for Chris Forsberg, a good start here. Take a look at this, Jared. You can see that wheel just barely comes up, and he makes it look really smooth and clean. And then that transition back around through that second inside clip. He was on that right in between that first and second hash mark. So good job by Forsberg to start off here on his first run.
89 and 89 there for Chris Forsberg. So we are seeing some really top-notch scores here. Now we are in the top three. Peter Visick up next. He had that victory last year. If you haven't already, embrace the heat, start the conversation. Speaking of Peter Visick, you can see a photo there of the Wordhouse Drift Team, him and James Dean, the defending champion. Ready to see and create Formula Drift content. Join the community, embrace the heat. Go to formuladrift.com and join the community.
There is a charcoal gray Prius Missouri license plate PR9 GH1. Again, license plate PR9 GH1.
All right, right now Peter Visick around that second front clip, into that outside zone. Excuse me, into the touch and go, now into the outside zone. Visick had the win in Irwindale last year. He wants to get back on top of the podium as the 1 and 2 of Peter Visick and James Dean.
Well, he really was a shining star in Seattle with that #1 qualification. And here starts off real strong, a little bit long. You can see a lot of drivers not able to do the first and second inside clip perfectly. The timing there, trying to get the speed right. Visick here hitting that outside zone. Gets into it nice and early and pretty much sticks with it here. Stays on throttle here through that final inside clip. And this should be a high 80s, 90-ish type run for Visick, who gets a pretty good start overall.
And the results are in for Peter Visick, an 88. So another driver in the 88s. And as next up, Frederik Osmo, former champ in that Rockstar energy drink. Nexen tire, Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. Both Osmo and Stefan Papadakis, team owners. Papadakis documenting a lot of what goes on into the vehicle, including just under the hood, how to create the vehicle, just a really in-depth look at a top-tier drift program. So definitely encourage you to check that out. both Steph Papadakis, his Instagram, and Papadakis Racing, and Frederik Osmo. So a lot of cool content going into this hot hatchback that is this Rockstar Energy Drink Next entire Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. And also take into consideration 1,000 horsepower to this 4-cylinder Borg Warner turbocharged nitrous hatchback. Throws it into that first front clip, just flirting with that red and white rumble strip. Into that touch and go. Gets all the way out past that final front and puts that back left right on the edge of the track, making it look really easy, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, this is what Osmo does best here. I mean, where are the mistakes in the line? I just don't see it. Great initiation here, nice and early, super tight there on that first, but he's able to link it to the second, which what we haven't seen from a lot of drivers. Smooth right there through that outside touch and go, hits that inside clip on that first hash mark, gets into this outer zone early and stays with it. Very smooth, consistent line, Jared, all the way through, and then is still able to hit this inside clip without really making even a small bobble on the line. So Frederik Osmo giving himself a great opportunity here to be up very high in the qualifying positioning. And now it's all left in the judges' hands. We've seen as high as a 95 from 2 drivers. Yep. A couple of 90s, a 91. Let's see where this one goes.
And here we go. Do we have a new leader? And we do a 98. Nearly perfect. A 98 from Frederik Osmo, just 2 points shy. Where were those 2 points? Line and style. So commitment. So just not ready to get married yet. You know, just not ready to get married to 100. So commitment with that 29 and line. Stefan, what's wrong with your driver, dude? 2 points left out there on the track. I mean, seriously, step it up. I'm joking. So we are now to our final driver of run 1. Remember, every driver has 2 runs non-consecutive. So now is our defending champion as well as our current points leader, and he's just in front of Osmo. I shouldn't say just, about 80 points in front of Frederik Osmo. James the Machine Dean. Wordhouse Drifting Falcon tires, S15. And here he comes to the naked eye of the judges' stand. So not as close to that front clip. So he's not completely invincible. Wow, really riding the grass edge, doing some landscaping there for Gateway Motorsports Park. But again, James Dean definitely going to leave some points out there as far as line right here in front of the judges' stand.
Well, he did a great job on the outside sweeper and on this first inside clip, but as we were looking for mistakes from Osmo and couldn't find him, you can see here James pulls a little bit wide on that second inside clip. As he gets through the power alley and the touch and go, he's going to drop that right rear as he comes into this outside zone. I love this part of the course, though, really deep here. Does not deviate from that line whatsoever, so great job by Dean there. But as you said, Jared, maybe leaving a few points on the table. Osmo might be safe out in the lead. Here it is, right there into that touch and go area, dropping that right rear.
Yeah, truth be told, I don't know how you're looking at it, but I'll watch the screen, and when I hear them over our right ear, because basically by the naked eye they are far off. So I'm watching the monitor, but then when they get to basically that touch and go or the front clip, that's kind of when I watch it with my naked eye, and so I missed that dirt drop on first take. So it's great to see that replay. And they're scoring 84, an 84 for James Dean, an 84 for James Dean. So right now, Frederik Osmo, our #1 qualifier. But remember, everybody has another run. Also, Instagram's a great way to keep up with what's going on, Formula D, but all the drivers as well. I found out that Daijiro Yoshihara and his team had a cracked manifold right before qualifying, but they got it welded up, obviously fixed because he had a great score. But speaking of scores, everybody has another opportunity to better their score on their second run when we come back. This is the Advanced Auto Parts Crossroads presented by Rain-X. Round 6 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship, Run 2 when we come back. right, welcome back. Advanced Auto Parts meet you at the crossroads, presented by Rain-X. No Bone Thugs in Harmony here, but he's throwing down in Harmony as our first driver, Ryan Littoral. We are hearing that Taylor Hull is foregoing his second run. Okay, so Taylor Hull, who did receive a score, he will be seeing head-to-head competition. Not the best score of a 62, but a score nonetheless, so he will be seeing head-to-head competition tomorrow. Next up, Ryan Littoral, who needs a score in order to see head-to-head competition tomorrow. He will be seeing Pro 2, so he's doing double duty both today and tomorrow. A lot of driving for this talented driver. Cora Work 350Z throws it in. Ryan Littoral past the point and no return. Gets up on the level strip, a little hop, skip, and a jump. Out to the touch and go. Oh no! A big correction for Ryan Littoral, and that will be double zeros for Ryan Littoral. And unfortunately, that will be a no-show for him tomorrow in head-to-head in pro competition.
Well, as you mentioned, Jared, doing double duty, so he's going to have to salvage it in Pro 2 competition tonight. But let's see what happens here as he comes through that second inside clip. Big angle here, and on the transition right there, the front end washes out, and he's not able to get through that third inside clip. So unfortunately, he, as you said, he had that incomplete in run number 1. Run number 2, not able to get a full pull here, and so that is going to be all she wrote. But for the fans at home, Jared, it's a good opportunity, as we've seen one full run, see where the judges' tendencies are, what they're scoring well, and it's a big factor of it seems to be getting the line right and being able to connect all the areas of the course. I mean, obviously that's what they're looking for, but we're seeing really high scores go to guys that get those first and second inside clips done really well and then draw a smooth line through the remainder of the course, and especially in the outside zone. We've seen the guys that are threading it on the edge of the course there and doing it consistently, not getting on and then coming back off and then getting back on again, but just really staying there. And so we've got some nice scores in the mid to high 90s. Osmo with that 98, Gooshie 95. We've also got Odi Bakchis with the nice score 93, and Field with the 95 as well. So not a lot of headroom for the Bakchis, Osmo, Gooshie crowd, but certainly could mix it up depending on what the second score is.
Man, yeah, such a bummer there for Ryan Littoral. And yeah, as you said, Ryan, just some really fluid runs there. Speaking of Odi Bakchis, you can win a set of wheels that Odi runs. Well, they'll be new. They're not Odi's wheels, but similar to the ones he runs. Tag a photo of you watching this weekend's event. Hashtag FDDRIFZ and enter to win a free set of Drifts wheels. Again, hashtag FDDRIFZ and win a set of Drifts wheels. So next up was to be Taylor Hull. He has a 62 on his first run. He is parking it, and he will be seeing head-to-head competition next in that Comp Cams, Achilles Tire, Affirm Consulting, ATSV. Next up, Austin Meeks. Austin Meeks, he had a 64 on his first run, and looks like he will be getting a incomplete run here on his second. Ryan, these guys just really throwing down here on that first run. So another driver. Doesn't seem that he might have had an issue or just gonna need. All right, so so something happened there, Ryan. We're hearing from a spotter. Rapper Dan Savage, Ryan.
Yeah, well, when Meeks was up here earlier, he didn't seem too concerned after he got that score on run number 1, so he'll be into tomorrow's head-to-head competition. This was just to try to position himself maybe a little bit better, get himself a greater opportunity. Obviously, he's not going to be getting that bye or one of the available buys. Right now, there's 1, 2, possibly 3 available buys, possibly 4 now with Hilbrun, it looks like.
Well, we were down to
Literal.
There were, so 33, there were 30. So 3, yeah.
Literal, and
so there's 4.
Stratton's got to come through, and so does Hilbrun's out. So that's guaranteed open spot.
So 33 minus 3, that's 30, minus Literal, that's 29. So 30, 31, 32, there's 3 spots.
3 buys, yeah.
3 buys as it stands right now. Dirk Stratton, he's another driver that needs a score. All right, so as we get Austin Meeks off course here, we'll take a short break here as we'll get him off course. And Robin Ishida caught up with the Polish driver Peter Visick in our JE Pistons Tech Talk.
Hey guys, it's Robin Yoshihara back with the JE Pistons Tech Talk here with Peter's Pit.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
That's true. Oh, no.
You're so tall.
That's better.
All right, so did you do anything to the car? Did you guys change any setups or anything for the new track?
No, actually the car is in pretty much the same setup as it was on a previous round. We just adjust the gearing ratio, the actually differential gear, final gear, and yeah, that's it. The track is pretty flat, so it's pretty like easy to compare to European tracks. But apart from that, everything looks fine. The problem is the tire consumption only.
All right, so you're talking about gearing. So getting the right gearing to make the car last 2 laps with the same tires is the key, maybe, right?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we would like to have even better speed on the track while our run. But if we change the ratio, getting better speed, we'll consume the tire definitely before the finish line. So we need to have that in our mind. And yeah, I think we've managed to find a balance, so we'll see. Hopefully, so far it looks good.
All right, man. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Take care.
All right, as Austin Meeks is getting pulled off here on by Quad Power. Looks he's racing the 18-wheeler there. Oh, he's getting smoked right now. So Meeks towed off. He does have a score, but as Ryan and I were saying, there are definitely 3 buys. So whoever's sitting 1, 2, and 3 at the end will have an automatic buy into top 16 tomorrow. But then there is a potential for a 4th buy if Dirk Stratton does not put down a score on a 2nd run. Right now it's Federico Sharifo. See him warming up his tires in the back. His Nitto tire specifically. And as I said earlier, we do have Pro 2 competition head-to-head later. So we have qualifying. Right after qualifying, we have the we'll see the gum out GT4586 of Ryan Tuerck out here on track. There'll be an autograph signing 2:30 to 3:30. Then we have some staff stuff we got to do, but we'll be back out here on track local time at 5:15 for our Pro 2 opening ceremony and top 16 competition. Here we go, Federico Sharifo driving the Fiorella Nitto tires in this Ferrari 599 GTB, twin supercharged, 12-cylinder right now, throwing down. A lot more fluid than I've seen in the past from Federico. Very exotic exhaust note now, bringing into that final finish line. As I said, Federico he told me that he found some more horsepower, some more torque, and he likes the attitude of the car. It squats a lot more.
He's got that 74. You can see goes a little bit long there in that first inside clip. Better there. Tiny little bit of jitters there coming through that center section, but now cleaning it up. Sweeps into this final turn here, gets in early, and nice job by Federico making some adjustments here from run 1 to run number 2. Great bit of driving here. Looks like he will probably improve on that first score.
All right, as Ryan said, Federico is 74 on his first run. Ryan tends to think that he's gonna better it. We'll see if Sage has rubbed his crystal ball, and he did. An 80, boom! Nice call, Ryan. The plan is going exactly as planned.
Yes, the plan of paying attention in the drivers' meetings.
You've done such a great job for so long. All right, so an 80. That's an 8-0, an 80 for Federico Sharifo on his second run. Here comes Dean Carnage Carney, who really progress things quickly with an 81 on his first run. The Oracle lighting. Achilles tire. Oh, and a correction. Shuts her down. Yeah, so, oh man. Bummer for him, but fortunately he does have a score on the board. But from Ireland, from Waterford, Ireland, that will be an incomplete run there for Carnage.
Well, Dean did start us off pretty strong, run number 1. And run number 2, you can see he kind of pushes a little bit wide there and then is not able to, the car grips up and not able to keep drifting. He shuts it down. He realizes he's not going to be able to improve on that 81. And Jared, you know, it's a good time to talk about, you know, who's up here to the left of us is the spotters, and the spotters play a very important role on run number 2, especially for the guys that are trying to position themselves as best they can, because top 32 is no joke anymore. Yeah. You can see top contenders get knocked out all the time. It's really hard to project exactly who you might go up against, but strategy from the spotters is very important, not only in qualifying, but of course in head-to-head. Try to figure out the tendencies of the drivers are going up against, how they did in qualifying, maybe where they're lifting, maybe where they're getting back on throttle, what kind of angle they're carrying through certain sections of the course. And of course, in trying to maximize points here in qualifying, giving the best possible advice they can down to their drivers.
Yeah, and we, in that drivers meeting, Ryan, that was a point that was brought up, is basically we got rid of that when you went into that power alley after that second front clip. We had a touch and go. There's a kind of a 1-2 touch and go. We got rid of that, but the drivers really want to institute basically don't go shallow. As Kevin Lawrence, so this is Kevin Lawrence's second run. Remember, he utilized his competition timeout on his first run, but he did get a score, so he got a 76 on his first run. Can he better it in his Injuku Racing? That's 14.3 and brings it around.
Well, looks like an improvement from Kevin on the right-hand sweeper, but still a little bit of trouble there on the first half of the course. Burning the tires down the front straight. Gets in a little bit tight here from initiation. Didn't get the right line through that first and second inside clip. Good job here through the power alley. Tighter on that inside clip through the final section of the course. And then you can see the line that he's been drawn here in this outside zone. Very consistent, nice and smooth, not a lot of movement in the front wheels. So the 76 is what he's dealing with in run number 1, but you can see that bit too tight there, and it really changes the attitude of the vehicle, and he has to make some adjustments through that section of the course. And going back to the track map, Jared, you can just see how many different sections there are, from the style sections of the course to the line and angle sections of the course. So really diverse track that we have here in front of us.
And there is the second run from Lawrence, an 83. An 83 for Lawrence. He does better his first score, so a nice confidence booster there for Kayla. As Kevin Lawrence gets his score, and Kazuya Taguchi, Achilles tire, up garage, top one oil GTR from Hokkaido, Japan. Let's see how Taguchi does here on his second run. Taguchi had a 76 on his first run. And here comes Taguchi into that first front. Oh, wow, explodes that Black Magic clip. And through, wow, really using all and even a little more than just the course. As Taguchi really on a tear right now. Looks like a man possessed. Taguchi ninja style through the course run.
Well, Taguchi gets really lucky here. Watch this. He's going to center punch this clip.
How?
And then watch the front bumper is hanging on by a thread. Right here it gets sucked under. And he's lucky that it didn't have an impact on the front wheels. We actually saw in FD Japan, and we've also seen it here in the past, where a bumper gets in those front wheels and gets stuck, and then the car slides and they can't go anywhere. But Taguchi's able to get through it. He has that 76. He's in the competition, no problem. Trying to better it. But let's take a look here one more time. He gets way too tight on that inside clip, and you can see how much of a problem that is. That second inside clip, but much better job there. There goes the bumper, and you can see he's trying to set himself up properly to get to that outside touch and go. But sans the bumper now. He's a bit tight on that inside clip leading into the final turn. We'll see how the judges think about run number 2 here for Taguchi.
All right, Taguchi waits for his score, and it looks like scores are in. And it's an 81. So even with all that disaster, or I wouldn't say disaster, but destruction of the clip, getting into the dirt, he receives an 81, puts him into 16th position. All right, so next up, before that, we're giving you an opportunity to win a MagnaFlow exhaust, win a free MagnaFlow exhaust. It's very simple. Just text MF Drift. You got some time. So I'll go and do it along with you. So again, pull up your phone, text MF Drift to 555-888. So again, 555-888. And then you're going to text MF as in MagnaFlow Drift. Boom, I did it along with you. So you can win a free MagnaFlow exhaust. Do the FD app and download it. Live scoring, alerts and stats, exclusive content, notifications, access to live stream, buy tickets, and a fan rewards program. I know Ryan hand seals and packs all the packs with care and love and just affinity for all the FD fans out there. So exclusive games and contests, special video features. Download the app now. All right, so next up, Kyle Mohan, but he is nowhere to be found right now, but he'll be up there shortly. We'll be right back here at round 6 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship.
What's up, everybody? My name's Chelsea Denofa, and this is my Ford Mustang RTR Spec 5D. So on our FD car, we run a triple adjustable ZR Series BC Racing coilover. So in drifting, there's two things that are most important, the suspension and the tires. And that's why we run these coilovers, because they're three-way adjustable, which means we can adjust the low speed and high speed on compression, and then the rebound separately. What that does is it allows us to control the hit with the high speed, and then throughout the rest of the turn with the low speed, and then how the car reacts to bumps and changes on the track with the rebound to keep the car planted.
All right, welcome back. As we were just going there to commercial break, saw Kyle Mohan warming up his necks and tires, and there is the lone rotary, the last starfighter. The stars being the Wankles. Here we go, American Ethanol, Motorsports MX-5, coming in that first front clip. Wraps it around the second. And into that quick little touch and go, but he hangs it out there for quite a bit. Now in front of the judges' stand. See him yanking the brake. This is where we saw some fire out of the hood, but no pyrotechnics on this run from Kyle Mohan, as Mohan with a 73 on his first run. Ryan, do you think that betters it?
Well, he does a better job, I think, if I can remember correctly here, on this second inside clip. Bit tighter there, could have been a little bit closer on that first. Good transition here by Mohan. Coming through that inside clip, now shooting into this outside sweeper. Back on the throttle here. Kind of a mid-high line through this section of the course, but he keeps it consistent, stays on that second hash mark there to finish up. And a smooth line through the finish line. So Kyle Mohan sitting on that 73, would not be surprised if that goes a bit higher here and he builds off of his score.
And the results are in for Mohan, a 74, so he does better, just barely. So a 74 for Mohan on his second run, the American Ethanol Mazda Tricks, Mazda MX-5. Top One Oil as our next driver, Dan Burkett, Rad Industries. Manufactures a lot of parts, but they're in Orange County. Nexen Tires, Toyota Supra. As I said, very fluid on his first run, and had a 75. Let's see if he can better it. Goes wide, but then tries to tighten it up. About the second hash mark. This looks very similar to his first run. About the third hash mark. Whoa, buddy. Wow, looked like he was going to overcook it. You see a correction there. Went wide and some sputtering mid-sweep for Dan. And Burke with a 75 on his first one. I don't think that's going to better it, Ryan.
Well, he's certainly flirting with an incomplete as well. You can see Jared, he's a little bit long on that first and second inside clip, kind of twitchy there, so lacking a bit of the fluidity through that section of the course. Now he comes flying through this section, gets a big angle in the car to slow it down, but then he's not able to maintain that line, has to pull off of it, comes down very, very tight. He does keep the front two wheels with a bit of angle in there, so it's not going to be an incomplete, I don't think, but it certainly was pretty close there as he entered into that last sweeper with a lot of momentum, was just not able to carry it and draw that smooth arcing line that you'd like to see that section of the course. So fortunately for Dan, don't know if he's going to improve on his first run, but he does have that pretty decent 75 as the run that gets him into the top 32.
And Dan Burkett's score is in on his second run, a 66. So just as we predicted, Dan Burkett's second run score, but does not better his first run. Next up, it is Jeff Jones. And Jones, on his first run, a solid score of an 80. And I have a feeling, just knowing Jones, he's going to push even harder in this Doc Falcon Tires Nissan 370Z. Around that first front clip. Goes long, as you would say, Ryan, on that second clip. Fills all that touch and go. Remember, that's not a zone, but this definitely is. So about a midline, third hash mark on that outside. And crosses the finish line. Ryan, is that enough to beat an 80 on his first run?
We'll take a look at the initiation here. Flirts with the edge of the course, just pushing up a little bit of dirt there. Tight on that inside clip, but you can see not able to link that second one. Midline coming through the power alley. Nice job by Jones. Coming up a little bit late on that inside clip there, and you can see some movement from the front wheels, trying to get settled and situated here. He's able to hit that third hash mark, but didn't draw the most consistent line. He's already got that strong score of an 80, and this is a pretty decent run overall. Should be in the ballpark.
Scores are in here for Jones, and that's a 76. A 76 does not better his first score of an 80. But now push comes to shove tomorrow and head-to-head for Jeff Jones. Next up, Jonathan Castro. He had an 83 in his Jourdain Metal Dome. Nexen Tires, Toyota 86. Let's see what Castro can do here on his second run. Again, beautiful day, Bluebird Day. Forecast, I know it rained before we got here. Some of the guys early on that arrived earlier than Wednesday. But forecast, potentially a little threatening thunder, but thunder right now on track from Castro. Losing that back bumper, past that second clip. Hits the touch and go really tight to that final front clip. Loses the back all the way completely. And keeps it moving. So Castro with an 83 on his first run, Ryan.
So Castro's second and final chance here to try to better that 83. Initiates, also gets a little dirt drop there, and then you can see that's where the bumper comes loose. Tight there on that second inside clip, but you can see he was a little bit shaky. The front moving around a little bit more than you'd like to see. He's having to reposition himself. He was about to go wide and off course, had to make an adjustment, tighten up the line. Now he gets back on it, gets out to the deepest part of that outside zone, and then through the finish line there, but not the smoothest and most fluid. Here's where the bumper comes loose. Now it's going to start to pick up. And he's going to come up a little bit tight there on that inside clip. And you can see it does change the way that the vehicle was rotating through that center section. And then here through that last outside zone, he gets into the zone a bit hot. He has to make an adjustment, pull some angle out of the car, and then he loses some of his positioning. So he will not better his first score.
79, a 79 there for Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic's own Jonathan Castro. Hey, Stefan, your driver, he's 2 points of being shy. Can you step it up a little bit? A 98. Really, bro? Come on. Commitment. He's not ready to get married yet, so there's the 1 point, and line. Line and commitment. Style. Yeah. Stefan and I are having a private conversation that we're just making public to the world. So that's how perfectionist Stefan Papadakis is. So as Castro receives his score, next up, this is do or die for the dagger. Dirk Stratton from Ohio. Lingenfelter Performance, Achilles Tire, Stratton Chevrolet Corvette. He's driven this track before. He's probably driven it more than any other driver here. He's driven it at MDU years ago, and he's been back here, but now he went off course on his first run. He had an incomplete run. He just barely nudges and kisses over that first Black Magic front clip. Just needs to keep it between the lines and keep it on the road for Dirk Stratton. Potentially a little nervous here now. And it looks like Stratton will be receiving a score. Don't want to speak too soon because he's got to cross the finish line, and there it goes. So Stratton will cross. And Ryan, that was a potential 4th bye for our top 4 qualifiers, but now it looks like the top 3 qualifiers will get a bye run and Stratton will get a score.
Well, definitely wiping the sweat off the brow there, a sigh of relief, and all the other things that you'd want to say about that run. But Stratton here pulls it together, gets a pretty decent run here. It's not going to be a super high score. It's going to probably be mid-pack. But he's able to do it, throw down a conservative yet strong qualifying run in run number 2 and save his weekend with that effort there. So great job by Stratton. Drops a little bit of a tire to get that dirt drop. Just nudging that inside clip here. Good transition back around, but you know, he's got to play it a bit safe here and not push it too difficult, knowing that he's just got to get a scored run to make it into tomorrow's competition, and he did that.
All right, so as Dirk waits for his score, the results are in, and it's a 70. So not the strongest score there for Stratton, but keeps him into puts him into 26th position as it stands. But he's going to be seeing head-to-head competition, and again, fighting for that Rookie of the Year title. He's going up against Matt Van Kirk, who is just 2 spots ahead of him, coming in 18th as Dirk Stratton came in 20th. Matt Van Kirk, Closet Creations, Popeye Energy Drink, 2JZ powered, S13. All right, so here's Matt Van Kirk around that first front clip and around that second, on that second hash mark. Gets out to the touch and go. Past the judges stand, nice job. As you said, Ryan, Matt Van Kirk looked strong in New Jersey, as he did in Seattle as well as home track. Making me a little nervous there around that final sweeper, but Van Kirk with a 70 on his first run.
Well, no easy ask here, especially this initiation point that leads into this first inside clip. We're just not seeing a lot of drivers link those two together. It's either hitting one or going off, or both of them being off here. And Van Kirk has that 70 on run number 1. He's trying to build off of that. I think he probably will. It'll be right around there, but you can see he had to pull a little bit of angle out of the car on this last corner. So just trying to get his bearings straight, trying to get settled in the vehicle, and get as much practice time for tomorrow's head-to-head competition, where he's done pretty well this year so far as a rookie. Put some good battles, but now trying to maximize those qualifying points on his last run of the day.
All right, results are in for Van Kirk, and he gets a 77, puts him into 24th position. So from Marysville, Washington, the 2J powered S chassis. Ryan, you know, in years past, everybody talked in the commentaries about V8 everything, right? It was an all 2JZ podium in Seattle.
Yeah, no, we're definitely seeing just the genius of the fabricators and engine builders in the series, being able to take pretty much anything that's out there, from 4-cylinder turbo to naturally aspirated V6, V8, everything, and make it competitive across the board.
So speaking of competitive, Michael Essa, he has not gone the route of the V8 in the BMW. He's actually utilizing the BMW power plant under the hood of the championship-winning BMW. He had a quick stint in a Camaro, but finds himself back behind the wheel of his Essa Autosports Achilles tire BMW and makes it look really easy, as Essa had a 79 on his first score.
Well, beautiful execution by Michael Essa on that last outside sweeper and through that first inside clip here. Great job by Michael Essa. Just gets a little bit of a dirt drop right here into that touch and go, sweeping through this third inside clip. And watch this, Jared. He locks into this outside zone, and notice how he doesn't really move from that spot. That just really shows the commitment. He leaves right there at the right time and gets that inside clip with a nice arcing turn to finish it up. So I think that's going to be better. The only thing is right here, he got into that touch and go a bit deep, dropped a tire or two there, but overall, strong performance by Michael Essa, especially on that last outside sweeper.
All right, so Essa dropping a score there with a 90. Boom, Ryan. So you called it. Definitely a strong run there. Very fluid, clean, as a 90 for Michael Essa on his second run. So you put him in the top 10 in that 6th position. Still quite a few drivers left to go, as we are now in the top 16. Next up, Matt Coffin. And Coffin threw down an 86 on his first run. You can see our fast orange qualifying leaderboard. Osmo out front, field, Gooshie, Bakshi, Stanofa. Can Coffin join him? You see him throw that angle out there and just stick with it. All the way out to that touch and go. Into that outer zone. Look at that. Put some more angle on it past that outside zone, Ryan. And Coffin does that better than 86.
Well, a good score to build off of a run number 1. Nice big angle there by Coffin. Does pull some out though, and he goes a little bit up on to the railing there, the curbing. Super tight on that third inside clip. A little bit of movement here, trying to stay settled. Now he's drawing that line through the final right-hand sweeper. And then real late apex there to that final inside clip. But a solid run number 1. Look at the angle here by Coffin. Now, if he just got the timing a little bit better, he would have got right on that inside and not gone up on the curbing there. But overall, a good run by Coffin. Probably going to be in and around the first score, maybe a little bit less. Hey, look at that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now people are really going to think that Formula Drift is scripted. Maybe a little bit, literally 1 point less. So an 85 from the Medford, Oregon pilot. That is Matt Coffin. World War Coffin, bro. Oh, snap. I'm Batman. We haven't heard from Batman in a while, right?
I know, he usually likes to come out during specialty events.
Yeah, just some, up in Canada, there's Canadian Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, eating those the special Oreos.
Yeah, the organic Oreos.
The organic Oreos.
Those went deep.
Dirk. I am Batman, and I'm rooting for Vaughn Gittin Jr. It's more Optimus Prime, though.
Yeah.
Vaughn Gittin Jr., roll out. Vaughn Gittin Jr., the Monster Energy Nitto tire. Ford Performance Mustang RTR. Vaughn Gittin Jr. had the opportunity and drifted over at the Nürburgring in a vehicle and made his way over to Goodwood. And then, like I said, Oshkosh Air Show. Right now, he's piloting this thing. And really, the three-wheel motion coming into play. You can see the attitude of the car not affected too much. Playing in the dirt, Dirt McGirt. ODV, Old Dirty Vaughn here, throws it in. Nice job by Vaughn Gittin Jr., former champ. You like that, ODV? Old Dirty Vaughn, expecting a baby on the way. VG3.
Well, he was definitely pushing on that run and trying to get up into that top 5. And look at this right here, this big angle initiation, super tight on this first inside clip and the second. Great job there. Mid-line here through the power alley, drops those tires and it gets him a little bit out of whack. You can see he had to make an adjustment there, those front two wheels. Now, had he not done that, this would have been a very, very highly scored run, and it still may be pretty high. He'll have that one mistake that he'll have to deal with, but that's a great job on that outside zone. He was able to keep his composure. Let's see how as he leaves this section of the course, as he comes over, he just gets a little bit too deep there, and then watch the front wheels make a little bit of an adjustment. And you know, you can see the driving skill really come out there, because a lot of other drivers may have just continued to go off course, but he was able to get back on course and make it look pretty clean.
And Vaughn goes back-to-back 80, so an 80 and an 80. So same score as his first run. So getting into the dirt there, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Again, ODV. All right, he's ready to boof it here on this next run here. Chelsea DeNofa, the RTR other Mustang.
Terry Smith, if you've lost your tickets, Terry Smith, we have your tickets up at the judging tower. Please come to the gate and we will give you your tickets. Terry Smith.
All right, so as I said, Chelsea DeNofa on the start line, ready to throw down. He kicked off our string of 90s. Chelsea DeNofa had a 91 on his first run. He's in the BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR. Again, him and Vaughn out of Oshkosh Air Show. We had a great week at Air-Venture, and now, whoa, massive angle. Right to angle, center punches that clip. That's enough for an incomplete run. Whoa! Chelsea DeNofa is throwing caution to the wind, absolutely just airing it out. That's basically like Michael Jordan dunking from the free throw line as DeNofa just goes for it. Ryan, I mean, this is kind of just a throwaway run, so he just really wanted to, no risk it, no biscuit.
Well, that wasn't really for the judges after that part of the course. This was really for us and you guys at home to be entertained. Watch this right here. Woo! Massive angle, basically backwards, and actually makes it look pretty smooth there.
Not the prettiest,
awesome.
But
that was unbelievable. You can just see the fabrication of that vehicle mixed in with the skill of Chelsea DeNofa really shining through there. And though it's not going to be, you know, our #1 qualification, I think DeNofa knew once he got a bit tight here and center punches that clip, he's not able to get up into the top 3. He might as well just go for it. And this is just unbelievable here. Carries the momentum. Pure backwards right there, especially from that other angle, and then still made it look pretty smooth and fluid through that section of the course. So DeNofa definitely dropping everybody's jaws.
yeah, like you said, just after that point of no return, past that front clip, just said, let's do it, let's boof it. And thumbs up, buddy, from Chelsea DeNofa, now residing in the PNW. Thank you to his lady Chelsea for bringing me lunch and acai bowl. I know Lantain and the judges were kind of bummed that they didn't get acai bowls. But we are narrowing down into the top 13 drivers. Our next driver sitting 13th, as it's a 73 for Chelsea. He's still sitting in the top 5 with a 91 on his first run. So sitting 13th coming into this round, as thanks, Abby. As Alec Honadell leaves the line. That Rain-X, Permatex, Nexen Tire, Hoonigan, Huddy Racing Supercharged S14. He has a score on his first run. All of the course. Yeah. Riding the edge. Explodes that back clip, Ryan. And taking a look at his previous score, an 80. Yeah. All right, chill out, Saucy.
Yeah, this is definitely a better run for him overall. Much more clean, fluid, a little bit long on that first inside clip, but back around for the second. And notice not too many mistakes here line-wise. You can see big angle here through that section of the course, hits that third, third inside clip, and then locks into this final outside zone. really keeping that back left rear right at the edge of the course and just kicking a little bit of dirt up there, but a very, very minor mistake. Here it is. He enters early and he stays locked in, and we've seen the guys that have had those really high scores have been able to do that, plus matching it with the first section of the course. So I think this is definitely going to be above an 80, and we'll see how high it goes.
89, dude, 89 there for Alec Honadell. So Honadell throwing it out, getting saucy with it. Okay, so next up, originally from Hawaii, now in Las Vegas, the Vaptasia Achilles Tires Energy Innovations S15, as Forrest Wang had a 78 on his first run. See what he can put down. Ryan, an action-packed weekend here at Gateway Motorsports Park. Just behind us, you can actually see the famous St. Louis Arch. A few of the drivers and teams had the opportunity to go up and down via the elevator up that arch. So cool for some of the drivers to experience. A lot of people, a lot of the staff and team have never been here to St. Louis, so it's good for them to check it out. As Forrest Wang still in the line. You can see our Fast Orange qualifying leaderboard. Osmo still with that 98. Look, a couple drivers with 95. That's Matt Field and Ken Gooshie. Bakshi's there with a 93 and Denofa with a 91, rounding out our top 5. You can see the remaining drivers. And here we go, Forrest Wang on his second run. Very fluid, signature style. Those aren't vape clouds, courtesy of Vaptasia. That is Achilles tire smoke. Good transition right here in front of the judges' stand. And Ryan, looks like just a little correction there towards the end of that sweeper, but a solid run there from Forrest Wang.
Well, look how much better there was improvement on the first section of the course, Jared. Nice smooth initiation, big angle here, tight on this first inside clip, and then back around for the second. And that's what we haven't seen from a lot of drivers. And linking that and this section of the course really puts you in good position here. Now, the only part of the course where he had a little bit of a flub was right here. He had himself situated to fill that entire zone. He had to come off a little bit early, and then the line pushed him out a bit wide there for that final inside clip. But he does have that 78 in run number 1. I think this is going to be better than that, get him into the mid-80s or so, and position him a little bit better into the bracket.
All right, the results are in there for Forrest Wang, and it's an 87. So let's flip-flop the score from a 78 to an 87 there for Mr. Wang. All right, we are moving right along. Sitting 11th coming into this round, Kenshiro Gushue at one point led the pack. He has a 95, and since he's tied with Matt Field, he definitely wants to back it up with a strong score. But Matt Field, you a fan, Gushie, won't you back that 86 up? I'm glad I got a little chuckle out of you there, Ryan. I think Gooshie heard my joke and chuckled, maybe messed up a little bit there. Yeah, on initiation, had a little bit of a hiccup. Whoa, getting into the dirt. So not as clean and fluid as his first run. Maybe taking a page out of Chelsea Denofa's book and throwing it out there a little bit more, but. Again, I'm glad you like my joke, Brian. That's all that's important.
Well, the first one set the bar. The second one, he just mistimed here. He's a bit too tight, and you can see how the railing there basically pushed him off into that first section, into the second section, and then he's basically just trying to hold it together now. This is obviously not going to be better than the 95, but the importance of this run really is going to be the tiebreaker between him and Matt Field, who currently, as you mentioned, Jared, sit tied with 95. So this score, very important for Ken Gooshie, at least in terms of positioning and where it's going to put him in the bracket. You could just see how high that is from that shot. It actually pushed him off. He wasn't able to ride up it. He got pushed off out to the outside clip there, that first outside clip. So Ken Gooshie with a much smaller score in run number 2.
All right, so we talked about backing it up, and backs it up with a 70. And just knowing Matt Field and just how he throws down, he's been throwing it down pretty consistently when the car's been 100%. All right, so we are seeing now, we are into the top 10. Daijiro Yoshihara up next. Turn 14 distribution, Falcon Tire Subaru BRZ. Like I said, on social media, they said they had a crack in their manifold, but they were proud, and the hard-working team got it back on track, and he put down a solid first run, and right now he's doing it just the same. Talking about backing it up. Maybe he can even beat his first score. Dai Yoshihara had an 87 on his first run. Ryan, he's going for it. Tending to think that this might better an 87, Ryan.
Yeah, I think you could be right there. There was one little tiny mistake into the middle section, but look at this right here. Nice smooth initiation. Perfect on that first inside clip. Very tight and close on that second inside clip. Watch him right here, just a little tiny mistake in fluidity from the angle and the transition, but outside that, as he locks into this final sweeper, you can see the line is very consistent, the smoke line very consistent, and he's able to still hit that inside clip with good angle there. So I do think that this is going to contend to be higher than that 87. And for Daijiro Yoshihara, this is good news for him because he already has a really high score. He's already placed in a really good position, and now he's backed it up again with another solid run.
Results are in here for Dai Yoshihara, an 89. So just barely beats it out, squeaks it out, but an 89 there for Daijiro Yoshihara. Next up, Odi Bakshis, more Falcon Tire. All right, so here we go with Odi Bakshis, Falcon Tires, that Max Oil drifts wheels, S14.5. Around that front clip. And now into that outer zone, nice job. See a little bit of corrections there on that sweeper. Let's take a look at it again.
So Odi Bakshis, he's got that 93, starts off strong here, big angle through inside clip 1 and 2. Great throttle control from Odi. Wonderful job through that center section, but he comes up a little bit tight on that inside clip, has to make an adjustment there. Tries to keep the angle in the vehicle. It does ride that line all the way through that outside zone and keeps it tight on that final inside clip. So just a little bit of a mistake there from the power alley to the touch and go that put him in a bit of a tight line on that third and final inside clip. But nonetheless, you can see Odi carrying momentum into both qualifying runs, building as he just comes shy of his first run.
And there's a score, a 90 on his second run. A 90 on his second run as opposed to a 93, so does not better it. And definitely agree with that call. As next up, this is what I was talking about, Matt Field has a 95. And in order for him to rightfully earn that number 2 position, he'll need to do better than Ken Gooshie's second score, which was that 70. So here we go, Matt Field, the Wish Falcon Tires, Borla exhaust. Exhaust no past that front clip. Powering down, Ryan, looks like this Vortex supercharged vehicle could be bettering that 70, and he'll rightfully take that #2 qualifying position.
Yeah, well, no doubt that's going to be better than a 70. So that will be the tiebreaker between him and his teammate Ken Gooshie. You can see Field here, great job starting off. Very fluid through those first 2 sections of the course without getting up on the curbing too much and losing his fluidity. Right there, really great job using the brakes to keep himself on that nice line. Very consistent, great angle. So Field looking so settled in that vehicle after strong performances the past couple of rounds. And here he is getting into that final right-hand sweeper, staying full throttle all the way through and managing to look very solid in that Corvette that he spent so much time in the offseason putting together, and having a great maiden voyage. So let's see where the scores come in, and it's just a bit lower, but still very strong.
And yeah, rightfully so. That 90 on the second run holds him in that #2 position over Ken Gooshie, who got the 70 on his second run, so puts him into #3 position. But we have some very talented drivers still left to go, including Christos Blush, Ryan Tuerck, Justin Pollock, Forsberg, Visick, Osmo, and Dean. James Dean, that is. As Christos Blush, he had an 88 on his first run. And just knowing Blush, he's going to push harder and harder and burn through those Achilles tires, utilizing all the angle of that Wisefab kit past that second clip. Sounds like an airplane right now coming upon us. That Mass Motorsports V8. Motul lubricants running through the veins. The HGK Eurofighter BMW.
Well, Kristaps definitely would like to get into the 90s here. He had that 88, as you said, Jared. Wide swing to that first inside clip, a bit long there, better on that second. Now coming through the power alley, drops that wheel, gets himself a little off kilter there, but is still able to make it through that final inside clip. Now hitting that outer zone. Pretty good line being drawn here, comes off to that second hash mark, and is just a bit too late to that final inside clip. Let's take a look at what happens here. You can see he got himself mid-line and then just didn't get the transition timing about as right as he wanted to, but was able to hold it together. So 88 on run #1. Let's see where this puts him in for run #2.
All right, results are in there for Christos Blush, and a 78. So down actually considerably there for Kristaps. Puts him into 11th position right now. See if he holds on to that. As Peter Visick, he has an 88, and as does Ryan Tuerck, our next driver. Ryan Tuerck has an 88 in his Gum Out Black Magic next entire Toyota Racing Toyota 86. Let's see what Ryan Tuerck's got into that first front clip. Really tight to that rumble strip, but then throws it long on the second into the dirt. So a lot of these guys getting into the dirt past that the final front and into the sweeper. And Ryan Tuerck rounds out this run. Sage, he had an 88 on his first run.
Well, the tiebreaker run here for Tuerck as well. He needs higher than a 78. And then we'll see what happens with Peter Visick. But Tuerck, as you said, he had that first inside clip beautifully done. The second one was a bit long there, and you can see the line got him a little bit out of whack on that touch and go. As he got through that final inside clip, you can see some corrections being made on that outside zone, but still able to make the line look pretty clean. Here he is kind of going off course. You can see some guys going off course have actually caused that area to dip down a lot further than it was when we first started here. So we'll certainly have to fill that in, and just 1 point difference between run 1 and run 2.
An 87 there for Ryan Tuerck on his second run. So it puts him in that 11th position, knocking Kristaps down. Top 5 drivers left, top 5 drivers in the standings. And there are fast orange qualifying leaderboard. Osmo still out front with that 98, 95. Field and Gooshie, Bakshi's 93, Denofa 91. Here comes JTP, Justin Pollock, who had a 90 on his first run. There's more signature Justin Pollock style. Oh, you saw him take a little bit of angle out of it when he approached that first front clip. Looks like he had to just massage it around the front clip. Hear him lift, drop the car into that outside zone. Really ticking the boxes as far as the clipping points, but the corrections, either the lifting or that first front clip run.
Well, you can see from our perspective, Jared, he really nailed that third inside clip. But as you said, took a little bit of angle out there, was on the right line, but he could have done that a little bit cleaner. Now coming through the power, it looks a lot better here. And from our perspective, we're right up on top of that. He nailed that inside clip and then gets back on the throttle, but he pulls off that zone for a second, and then he gets back in it. The judges have seemed to like when you lock into that line and stay consistently there. We were still pretty deep into that zone. Here's the initiation, big angle here, and he just pulls a little bit out. If he would have maybe stayed on it right there, he could have had that section, added a few more points, but he does have that high score of a 90. Here he is into that outside zone, threads it right to the edge of the track, pulls off just a few inches there, and then gets back on it to fill that zone completely. So for Justin Pollock, run number 2 comes up a little bit short as well.
An 87 on his second run, an 87. Still holds a top 10 position with a score of a 90. Next up, Chris Forsberg, who got a podium earlier this year. He got it at round 2 in Orlando. Swapping out the engine just yesterday to be ready to do battle with the course tomorrow, and then head-to-head tomorrow. Or sorry, with the course today, and then head-to-head tomorrow. Chris Forsberg, NOS Energy Drink 370Z on Nexen tires. Forsberg got an 89 on his first run. And here comes the 3-time champ. Around that first front clip, well done. On the first hash mark, around the second. Into the touch and go goes Forsberg. Really great placement, very fluid from Forsberg. Now into that outer zone. Really tight to that final outside zone and crossing the finish line. So Ryan, again, it bears repeating, the top 3 qualifying drivers will have automatic buys into the top 16.
So Chris Forsberg here, second run. Great job on that first inside clip. Keeps it tight on that second. Huge throttle here through that power alley, gets out to that touch and go through that third inside clip. And this is looking like a pretty strong run here from Chris. 89 on that first run. The second run looks pretty solid as well. So we'll have to see how the judges take a look at that overall.
All right, results are in for Forsberg, and it's an 88, so it does not better his first run. Yeah, I don't know. It just got 4 points in line, 2 points in angle, and could see 6 points overall in style, fluidity, and commitment. So, yeah, an 88 on his second run, and 89 stands to be the better of the 2. Peter Visick is up next, top 3 drivers coming into this round. Visick had an 88 on his first run. Let's see how Piotr throws down here on his second run, Ryan. Little Manji entry similar to that of James Dean. Oh, and a wide swing and also a correction. I don't foresee this being better than an 88. So as I said, Ryan, you know, they are proven to be basically mortal, not to be invincible. But an 88 on his first run there.
Well, watch the front end here, wash out. Jared right there, he was going super fast, had to make an adjustment. He's able to save it and get back around to that second inside clip. Now through the power alley here, you can see slight adjustment in the front. So lacking some of the fluidity overall, but still extremely fast. And you can see why these cars have been so devastating in head-to-head matchups. And these 2 drivers combined with that have just been a real challenge for the rest of the field. But here you can see a mistake from Peter Visick. And he does have that 88. So not sure that that's going to cut it and improve on his overall score.
All right, results are in here for Peter Visick, an 82. So it does not, Ryan, as we predicted. All right, next up, we have Frederik Osmo, who is our current Fast Orange qualifying leader and our potential only one opportunity and one driver left, James Dean, to be our Black Magic #1 top qualifier award winner. But Osmo with a 98, trying to go for that perfect run. Only 2 points left out on the track, and that was for commitment and for line. Just those 2 points. So let's see as Frederik Osmo goes around that first front clip, tight to that second, into the touch and go. Goes Osmo, now past that judging stand. The Rockstar Energy Drink, next entire Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. Using all of the course. Ryan, is that the perfect score? Is that another 98? Is it a 99? Where do you think?
Well, let's take a look here. Early initiation, good angle by Osmo. Nothing wrong with that one. Nothing wrong with that one. Still on throttle here. Big angle through the power alley. Tight on that inside clip. Trying to find out where those 2 points got left off. This is very similar to that first run. So this is going to be in the ballpark here. And Frederik Osmo once again locks down another solid run with, you know, really hard to find where the mistakes are. And can he find those 2 extra points? He would love to have that 100, as well as his team, Stefan Papadakis, or even maybe a 99 or a 97, but this is right there. Maybe could have been tiny bit deeper into that zone. I have no idea. I mean, that is right on the edge there. So Frederik Osmo, another great run for him.
Well, Ryan, again, it is not 96. So, you know, we're splitting hairs here, and it was consistent across the board. You can see 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So 4 points missing, 1 from each category: line, angle, fluidity, and commitment. One more driver left to best the former champ of Frederik Osmo. It is the defending champion of James Dean, the Warthouse Drift Team Falcon Tires, Sylvia S15. He's deemed the machine. He's a tall, green, lean, mean, fight machine, James Dean. Here we go. Into that first front clip. He's sitting on an 84. Can he better Osmo with that near perfect 98 on his first run? James Dean passed. The judges stand in his 2JZ powered S15 and gets and utilizes all of that outer zone, Ryan. Don't know if that has that X factor that would just supersede that of the Norwegian Hammer.
Well, it was very Osmo-esque though, wasn't it? You can see really tight on that first inside clip. I mean, where's the mistakes here? He's on throttle, nothing major here. He had a little bit less angle than Osmo through that center section, I think, and that may be a factor. But look at the line. The line is basically perfect. Tiny little adjustment there, but I mean, if this is not in the mid-90s, I'd be surprised. And certainly going to better his day because he does have that 84 on that first run.
All right, so before we give our final score, these are the live stream schedules. Today, we still have Pro 2 head-to-head competition. Top 16, local time 5:15. Just an FYI, it is just before 2 o'clock. Again, just before 2 o'clock. So in about 3 hours and 15 minutes, we'll have head-to-head competition. But then tomorrow, it starts all over again for Pro. Top 32 head-to-head begins at 1 p.m. local time. Our AEM halftime show featuring the Maximum Driftcast fellas that are Sam Nalvin, Corey Hosford, and Paco Ibarra. He has 8 R's in his last name. And then 5 p.m. is Pro Top 16. So National Anthem opening ceremonies and Top 16. And our final score of James the Machine Dean, our defending champion, with a score of 92, a 92, so just outside, but does get a top 5 spot. And our top 3 qualifiers will receive a bye run into the top 16. So thanks for joining us out here. We'll see you back here at 5:15 local time for our Pro 2 competition. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Send it. We'll see you online. We'll see you another time or at 5:15.